Hey guys, welcome back to the Crypto Pictures channel where I help you see crypto through a clear lens. So the past two videos I've kind of been going over more the macro end of things, the larger time frames and such. So today I wanted to do a little bit more of a zoom in perspective. Also with the market being as volatile as it is to the downside, does give opportunity for some really good entry points, considering or under the thesis that we are continuing to the upside, which I believe as of right now is the continued direction. I don't think this is the end of the bull market, so I will be looking for points of interest, such as the green box here of support. This support zone I've had here for the last couple weeks, so we'll have to see how that progresses. One thing I am seeing on the Bitcoin chart here is we do have a potential to create a nice double bottom here. Obviously that would be invalidated with a break of 44,500, let's call it, right? So we'll have to see how this progresses over here on the market cipher. For the 4 hour we could still see this come down a little bit more. This indicator or this anchor wave can come down and price can stay stagnant. I'd love to see it to start curving over. That would be amazing. Our money flow is still in the green here, right? Even on a 4 hour. So we haven't even gotten to a point like we did back in mid-January, end of January time, where we did see a bit of negative cash flow. That's this red here. We're still in the green from a money flow perspective. We did break the RSI down into the, I wouldn't say bearish, yeah, probably bearish at this point, into the oversold levels. Since Bitcoin's been in this bull market, it hasn't spent very much time down at those levels, in all honesty, since it's broken 20K. If we zoom in here, right? The last time we broke this level, we were under it for approximately 12 days, so not too bad. That's fairly quick. That's not a very long time frame in my opinion. And that was about it since we broke 20,000. Even back here, we were under there for about 3 days prior to breaking 20,000. And prior to that, very small amounts of time spent in this region. So we'll have to see how it progresses. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this to see if there's any signs of life here. I'm usually, for me and my channel and my group, I usually don't zoom into the smaller time frames, but in this scenario I just want to zoom in a little bit and see if we're getting any hints or anything like that as to what we could potentially be looking at here. This green is usually showing there's momentum buildup. Now we don't really know if it's to the downside or the upside until it breaks into either direction or comes down and kind of tithers around here, and sometimes we can see a pretty sharp breakdown. Right, so here we got the green farther up and then we broke down, and then it signaled a larger move when this RSI turned green. It continued to build momentum the entire way down though, and finally the green subsided, turned back into red, and then we finally saw kind of our bottoming, or the bottom end of our consolidation here in Bitcoin's price from that January correction. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. The one thing that I do like about this starting down here, down low, is that it means that we probably don't have as much momentum to head to the downside as we did back here, which is great news, because this was, you know, I think it was about 15%. Wow, yeah, 20%, 23%. So if we headed down from here, you know, yeah, 23%. I mean, we could get a wick down here and that's fine, but I really want to maintain above 38,000. So, you know, at the worst case scenario, and remember, this is a support zone. Doesn't mean it has to stay exactly within this zone. It could be drawn out a little bit more to the downside or slightly to the upside. But yeah, above 38 in all honesty. So this zone, give or take a couple $100, and that's what we would love to see from Bitcoin. There is a possibility that we just start turning around from here as soon as we start seeing these anchor waves lessening over time. So like even here, right, we saw one large anchor wave, a smaller one, a smaller one. It means the sell pressure is dissipating, right? So back here we got our, you know, larger blue anchor waves, smaller ones, and then we got another large sell-off, and then we got like a double bottom. But typically speaking, especially when you're on the larger time frames, the you know, the smaller or shorter time frames can be a little bit deceptive sometimes. That's why I don't come down here, but I just want to see kind of what we're looking at from this perspective. So yeah, I mean, we could be seeing something like this, and we're getting a go long signal, right, like we did here, or we could be in the final leg. So we'll have to see what happens. But as I've been stating for the past couple of days and even week, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we revisited our previous high, which we broke out of back here in on February 8th, or yeah, February 8th. So yeah, we'll have to see how that progresses. Bitcoin dominance still, you know, fighting this area, right? We are seeing starting to build some higher lows here, right? So we are seeing like a structure that's building higher lows. So we'll have to see. I mean, this could be perceived as a symmetrical triangle. Just ignore that blue line. Let's see if I can hide this. So we'll just hide that. And then symmetrical triangles are usually continuation patterns, right? So in this scenario, they are neutral, but they tend to break in the direction of the pattern, or the trend, sorry. So in this case, we are trending to the downside, which would give this more probability to break to the downside. It's not certain, but if we break this to the downside, I'm very confident that this is definitely not the end of the bull market. We'll have to see how this progresses, but to me, this is a bearish pennant, which you know, I'm anticipating we will see a breakdown of until proven otherwise. Based on this pattern, I mean, I wouldn't be taking any alt trades based on this. I like, if you want to stack Ethereum, you know, go for it, right? Because we know that Ethereum and Bitcoin are very likely to be here for the next 5 to 10 years. You know, so I never have a problem stacking any Ethereum or Bitcoin. But again, we probably want to wait for those trends to reverse and stuff like that, right? And I'm just about to go into Ethereum here. So Ethereum on a 6 hour, kind of similar to Bitcoin. We'll zoom in a little bit, but you know, the anchor wave hasn't come as low as it has on Bitcoin and starting to create a lower anchor wave, right, on the 6 hour. So I would love to see this kind of, you know, where I've put my blue line here, create a higher high, or sorry, a higher low, and also see a higher low in the anchor wave. But you know, in a worst case scenario, I do want this to hold, and we could see some sort of a double bottom, which is a bullish reversal pattern. But if we break these levels, yeah, I mean, a revisit to, you know, 1253 And if we were just to, you know, create a support zone, I would call it probably somewhere in this ballpark right here, right? I like to, pardon me, I like to use support zones rather than just simple lines. I keep lines here because when I'm trading or I'm looking at things, I just prefer it that way, less clutter on the chart, and I know kind of I can see this support zone without actually having this box drawn. I'm just doing this for a visual effect for you guys. But yeah, I mean, with Ethereum, essentially, you know, I would like it to hold this this zone that I've outlined from like the break of the ascending triangle, essentially. So, and you know, give or take, you know, we could come around that area. Could just lower this to about here, and that's kind of what I'm looking at for a support zone for Ethereum. And right now we're kind of just testing these levels as support. Another interesting thing with Ethereum, Bitcoin is slightly showing this too, but it's a little bit more prominent on the Ethereum chart. We could be seeing like a nice, you know, double bottom slash W kind of pattern here, which is usually like a bullish reversal or like continuation if, you know, you get a W as you're progressing upwards. That's also kind of bullish, but we'll have to see what happens. Zooming down here, so 4 hour, you know, we did get these go long signals. RSI is kind of getting into the oversold levels. It can stay down here for you know, a number of days or weeks, right? But considering we are in a bull market, it is likely that, you know, we don't spend too much time in oversold levels. When you're in a bear market, you know, these will spend more time in bearish control zones than they would with bullish control zones. So we'll have to see how that progresses. On the 2 hour, we're getting a little bit of curvature here. I think on the 1 hour, we did get another go long signal here. It doesn't mean, because it is a small time frame, this is the hourly chart, so I don't put as much weight on it. It could just be like a simple, you know, 5-10% correction before a continuation down. Once you start seeing these signals on a 6 hour, especially like, for example, back here, right? If you see this, this is a very strong indication that we have seen a bottom. Also, you know, when we get greens in quick succession like this, usually indicates, especially with the money flow going up and the RSI ticking bullish, is a really strong signal. So in this case, you know, it is the first time we've seen the money flow go into the negative since back here. So I'm comparing it more with these levels that we saw here. The only thing is that we did see a lot more sell pressure, obviously, than we did back here, forcing the RSI to head down lower. Like this is a massive move in comparison with this one. So that's why you didn't see the red line here come down as heavily. So yeah, for Ethereum, I'm looking at it to hold this support level. This would be my first and most ideal scenario. But in a worst case scenario, I would really like it to hold these levels. I mean, realistically, and it's crazy to say this, but I mean, we could come to 869 and still be bullish. It would still be breaking some critical levels on the micro levels, but you know, I don't really want to talk about this until we see even a break of this first level, but something to keep your mind open to when you're in crypto, because you know, 30-40% drops do happen. I think that would be way below 40. So yeah, I'm not really expecting this, but this could make sense, right? 30-40% drops, you know, 20-30% drops in Bitcoin, 30-40% drops in Ethereum, especially when you get gains like this, right, in 300% in 56 days, right? So yeah, and you would still keep like about 60% of those gains, right? So yeah, something to keep in mind or a watch on. Moving on to DOT and Cardano, and sorry, I don't have the Cardano chart pulled up, but yeah, these ones, they are seeing some bullish consolidation at these higher levels, and this is kind of what I want to see for Bitcoin and Ethereum, is a retest of the break of the previous high. So as you can see, we broke out of this pattern. This was our high. We had a correction. We broke out of that previous high at this level, and we're currently testing it. And as I said, I look at these things in zones, not in like this, if this line's broken, then the world's ending, right? So if you were to take a zone, you could probably take it from here to somewhere around here, and that would be a zone I'd be looking at. But since we're in a bull market, as of right now, I'm still playing everything with a bullish bias. So that's the thesis on DOT. And again, we'd be looking for like a 6 hour, then an 8 hour buy signal before we got more optimistic and more bullish on this again. So just being patient at this time. XOR, again, I'm not using CoinTrader for this right now. As I explained yesterday, I traded some of my Ethereum into XOR, back here when it was worth 0.1 of an Ethereum. It's now worth 0.25 of an Ethereum, so it's still held up as a really good trade versus holding Ethereum even with this sell-off, which is great. So again, just looking for it to come down here, retest these previous highs here, and see if we can hold, really. So one nice thing about XOR versus Ethereum, it's still holding its bullish control zone. We are right there on the edge, but I remain optimistic on XOR. It's a really small cap, and it is having its mainnet launch very shortly here. So something to keep an eye out on. And honestly, with their airdrop, like I could see like another 30-40% dip, like, and to be honest, with the airdrop, like I'm still going to be at the same price levels I'm at right now. So got in at a really good price. So next one is Pokestarter, one of my favorites. I've been talking about Pokestarter here for a while. Especially started talking about it when it was around $1.12, when it became more accessible on some centralized exchanges. Still not available on Binance or crypto.com, but we'll see what happens. But I've been watching this one since 21 cents. But since it broke its high back here, it's been a way less risky asset in comparison to when it was down here. So we talked about it here. And now I'm looking at it forming a bull flag here, similar to the one that we were talking about on Bitcoin in the Telegram group. So I'm really interested to see what happens here. Again, kind of same structure around the board. Like, do we see kind of like this double bottom scenario here, and we take off, right? That's what I would like to see. But I mean, we could stay in this zone for a little while, as long as the flag is not as long or longer than the flagpole. So a bull flag, the way it works is this would be the bull flag. Let me get rid of this. Sorry, this would be the pole of the bull flag, right? So here to here, okay? So it's essentially looks like a flag, right? The way to get your measured move from here, so let me just delete this now that I've shown you the pole. You would take it from the high here, come down to where the price broke out, and you would take a measured move from the breakout point You know, I've made some decent trades off of bull flags and you know, falling wedge patterns and symmetrical triangles, ascending triangles. So I am a pattern player, especially when it has confluence with my market cipher indicator. So yeah, let's see when it breaks out. But if it was to kind of do what I'm thinking, which is, you know, come down here, create a double bottom, and then kind of take off. And again, you know, nobody can see the future. I'm just projecting it based on market structure, based on the fact that we are in a clear uptrend. So I'm not going to assume that we're going to start a downtrend until we start a downtrend, right? So I'm going to play it like we're in a uptrend, because we are. And if that things change, then things change. But as of right now, I'm going to, you know, assume that it continues in the direction in which it's going, which is up. So yeah, I mean, based on that projection, and if we did get a breakout sometime towards the end of, well, the next 3 to 4 days, it would put us at a price around like $10-11. And again, this is just a targeted projection. Doesn't mean it's going to hit 100% of the time to 100% of the target. You know, it could, you know, some in a bull market, it is more, it is possible, or a greater possibility, that we meet 100% of the targeted or projected move, but 70% of a targeted move is also acceptable before seeing some sort of you know, accumulation zone or redistribution, or just consolidation in price action. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, I wanted to show you kind of the two coins that I explained that I'm most bullish on from a fundamental reason, and also that, you know, even with this sell-off, like, I mean, they look really strong, you know, and you're better off playing stronger charts. Charts that look very strong usually continue strong in a bull market, and they are some of the strongest coins in a bull market. So yeah, going to continue playing those with a bullish bias until proven otherwise. And I did post this in the Telegram group earlier. So these are some of the funding rates. So these were all like dark green the other day, or like bright green. And some of these funding levels were at like 0.1%, you know, and average or neutral funding rate is 0.01%. So we were seeing a lot of greed in the market. You know, so it's expected that we see a sell-off. Now we're seeing some negative marks coming in here. To be honest, the main ones that I look at from a, the main ones that I look at for, I would say that are more accurate, I would look at Binance, I'd look at FTX, Bybit, right? These three are used the most, to be honest. So I am more focused on Bybit, FTX, and Binance. BitMEX used to be one of the leaders, but as of right now, Bybit, Binance, and FTX seem to be the leading exchanges. So with that being said, yeah, that's my tip for the day. Also posted it in the Telegram group. The link is below in the description, as well as the Market Cipher affiliate link. Please feel free to use that if you're interested in Market Cipher. And till next time, cheers.